This is Everyday Tension. Real stories based on real experiences about everyday conflicts people rarely talk about. This story was shared anonymously. If you'd like, you can support the channel by liking or subscribing and let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Here's what happened.
It started with the points. I've been saving them for years, just little bits here and there from a credit card I barely used. It felt like play money, not real. Every few months I'd log in and see the number tick up and think, someday. I didn't know what for. A trip to somewhere warm, maybe? But then work got bad. Not catastrophically bad, just the slow, grinding kind. My boss left, and the new one had a way of talking in circles in meetings that left me exhausted. I'd come home and just sit on the couch. The thought of planning a real vacation, with hotels and itineraries, made me tired. So I logged into the airline portal one Tuesday night. I was just browsing, a form of escapism. I typed in a flight to visit my sister. She lives across the country. I scrolled through the economy seats, and then, out of curiosity, I clicked on first class. The price in dollars was absurd. But then I saw the option to use points. I did the math. It would clean me out, every single point I'd saved. But it was enough. For a one-way ticket in first class, I sat there for an hour. It felt stupid. It was a 3-hour flight. It was wasteful. It was the kind of thing other people did, people with different lives. But the more I thought about the cramped economy seat, the person who might recline into my knees, the struggle for the armrest, the slow shuffle off the lane, the more that big wide seat looked like a life raft. It wasn't about champagne or fancy food. It was about space. A few hours where no one could crowd me. I clicked confirm before I could talk myself out of it. The email receipt popped up. Seat 1A. I told my sister I was coming. I told my boss I needed a personal day. I didn't tell anyone about the seat. I felt a secret thrill about it, mixed with guilt, like I'd gotten away with something. The day of the flight, I got to the airport early. I checked my bag. The agent at the counter looked at my ticket and said, "Oh, you're in first. Gate B12. You can use the priority lane for security." Her tone was normal, routine, but it made it feel real. The priority lane was shorter. I felt like an imposter walking through. I kept my head down. At the gate, the area was chaos. A family with 3 young kids was camped out, spreading toys and snacks across 5 seats. The parents looked harried. The mom was trying to spoon yogurt into a toddler who was squirming away. I felt a pang of sympathy, and then I immediately felt annoyed by the noise. I found a seat away from them and put my headphones in, even though I wasn't playing music. I just wanted the barrier. They called boarding for first class. I stood up, my boarding pass on my phone screen already pulled up. I walked down the jet bridge, my carry-on feeling lighter. The flight attendant at the door smiled. "Welcome aboard. Left side, all the way forward." I found 1A. The seat was huge. The window was big. I stowed my bag and sank into the leather. It was quiet. The chaos of the gate was muffled. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. People started streaming onto the plane. The noise level rose. I watched them pass, their faces tense, scanning row numbers, wrestling bags into overhead bins. I felt a distance from it. I had my little island. Then I saw the family from the gate. They were coming down the aisle. The parents looked even more stressed now. They stopped a few rows back. There was some discussion, pointing. The dad was leaning over, talking to someone in a window seat. He straightened up, his expression tight. The mom was holding the toddler, who was starting to whine. They shuffled forward, talking to a flight attendant. The flight attendant nodded and pointed up toward the front, toward me. My stomach dropped. It was a stupid, physical reaction. I knew what was coming. I pretended to be very interested in the safety card in the seat back pocket. The gate agent, the one who had been working the desk outside, came down the aisle. She was a woman about my age, with a kind but tired face. She stopped right next to my seat. She leaned down. "Excuse me, man?" I looked up. "Yes? I have a bit of a situation here. We have a family that wasn't seated together. It's a parent and 2 children. We're trying to see if we can get them next to each other. Would you possibly be willing to switch seats? We have a seat available further back." I didn't say yes or no immediately. The part of me that was raised to be polite, to be helpful, wanted to just say, "Of course." But another part, the part that had saved those points for years, the part that had felt like a weight was lifting when I sat down, screamed, "No." "What seat is it?" I asked. My voice sounded calmer than I felt. She pulled out her device. It would be 27B. It's a middle seat in economy. I know it's a big ask, and I completely understand if you prefer not to. We can offer you some travel vouchers for the inconvenience. 27B. A middle seat, in the last row, probably near the bathrooms. For a 3-hour flight. I pictured it. The lack of space, the people on either side, the constant traffic, the journey from the back of the plane after landing. I thought about the points. I'd never get them back. The vouchers would be a fraction of the value. This seat, this quiet, this space, was the entire reason for the trip right now. I also thought about the family. The toddler had been maybe 3. The other child looked older, maybe 8 or 9. They should be sitting together. That seemed right. But then I thought, why is it my problem? I paid for this, not with money, but with time, with small savings accrued over years. I planned ahead. Maybe they didn't, or maybe the airline messed up their seats. That wasn't my fault either. The gate agent was waiting, patient. She wasn't pressuring me. She was just presenting the option. "Can I see the seat map?" I asked. I don't know why I asked that. Maybe I wanted proof. Maybe I was stalling. She showed me her tablet. The map was a grid of little squares. My 1A was a big, roomy square at the top. 27B was a tiny, shaded square, crammed between 2 others. It was surrounded by occupied seats. There were no other first-class seats available. There weren't even any aisle seats further back. Seeing it made the decision solidify. "I'm sorry," I said. The words came out. "I'd really prefer to stay here." I expected her to be annoyed, to guilt me, but she just nodded. "Okay, not a problem at all. Thank you for considering it. We'll figure something else out." She gave a small, professional smile and walked back toward the family. I felt hot. I looked out the window at the baggage cart scurrying around. I didn't look back at the family. I heard more murmuring, the flight attendant's voice, then the sound of them moving further down the aisle. A solution was found, I guess. Someone else moved. I didn't turn to see. The flight proceeded normally. The flight attendant offered me a drink. I took water. She came by with warm towels. It was all very calm. But I couldn't relax. My little island didn't feel like an island anymore. It felt like a spotlight. Every time an attendant walked by, I wondered if they knew. I wondered if the family back in economy knew. The woman in 1A had said no. I had a window, so I couldn't see people as they went to the bathroom. but I imagined them looking at me, judging. The logical part of my brain said that was ridiculous. No one knew. The interaction had been quiet, discreet, but the feeling stuck. Halfway through the flight, I went to use the lavatory at the front. As I walked back to my seat, I accidentally glanced toward the curtain that separates first class from economy. It was partly drawn. Through the gap, I saw the mom from the family. She was in an aisle seat, a few rows into the main cabin. The toddler was asleep on her lap. She was staring straight ahead, looking exhausted. She didn't see me. I quickly looked away and sat back down. That's when the guilt really set in. It was a hollow, sick feeling. She looked so tired. The kid was asleep. It would have been easier for her if I had moved. My comfort was directly traded for her convenience. That's how it felt. A simple transaction where I chose myself. But then I argued with myself. Why is her convenience more important than my comfort? I didn't make her have kids. I didn't mess up her seating. If it was that important, why didn't she book seats together? Maybe she couldn't afford it. Maybe it was the airline's fault. The reasons swirled around, but none of them made the hollow feeling go away. I didn't enjoy the rest of the flight. The seat felt like a trap. I just wanted to be off the plane. When we landed, I waited. I let everyone else go first. I didn't want to walk past that family. I was the last one out of first class. As I walked through economy, I kept my eyes on the exit. I didn't look left or right. My sister picked me up. In the car, she asked how the flight was. Fine, I said. A little long. I didn't mention the seat. The secret thrill was gone, replaced by a knot in my chest. That night, lying in her guest room, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying it. The agent's face, the seat map on the tablet, the word no coming out of my mouth. I wondered what the agent thought of me. I wondered what the family thought. I'm not usually an online person. I have social media, but I mostly work. But the need for some kind of, I don't know, validation, absolution, it was strong. I felt like I needed to tell the story, to see if people understood. Maybe I needed to be told I was wrong, to just take the punishment. So, I made a TikTok. It was impulsive. I set up my phone, recorded a quick video of myself, just talking. I kept it simple. I said a gate agent asked me to give up my first-class seat for a child, so a family could sit together. I said I asked to see the seat map, saw it was a middle seat in the back, and said no. I said they found another solution. I added the text on the screen. That's a no from me. Would you have given up your seat? Also, they ended up finding a solution. So no, I am not a terrible human being. Also, the child was like 13. I lied about the age. The kid was maybe 3. I said 13 because it felt less sympathetic. A teenager doesn't need to sit with a parent like a toddler does. It was a defensive lie, and I knew it as soon as I posted it. I almost took the video down right then, but I didn't. I posted it and put my phone face down. When I checked an hour later, it had a few hundred views. Some comments. Nope, you paid for it, one said. That felt good. Another said, selfish. That one stung. I went to bed. When I woke up, my phone was buzzing. Not calls, just notifications. The video had taken off. Overnight, it had hundreds of thousands of views. The likes were climbing fast. The comments section was exploding. I spent the whole morning reading them, my heart pounding. It was a split right down the middle. You're my hero. I would never give up a first-class seat I paid for. Parents need to plan better. As a mom, it's our job to book seats together. Not your problem. If you can't afford to seat your family together, you can't afford to fly. The audacity of some people to even ask. Those were on one side. They made me feel vindicated. They made my no feel strong and reasonable. Then the other side. Wow. Just wow. The lack of basic human decency. It's a child. You couldn't suffer a middle seat for a few hours to help a mother? The way you smugly posted this tells me everything I need to know about you. Karma is real. One commenter wrote a long story about how airlines often don't let you pick seats for basic economy fares, and how they once had their 4-year-old seated rows away because of a computer glitch. They said they had to beg a stranger to switch, and that stranger was a saint. They called me the opposite of a saint. Another person said, "It's always the people without kids who don't get it." That one got under my skin. Maybe I didn't get it, but was that a requirement for being a decent person? To have children? To understand that a parent might be struggling? The comments kept coming. People were sharing the video, debating it on other platforms. Someone found my relatively public Instagram profile and commented there. "First-class selfishness," it said. I deleted it and made my profile private. My hands were shaking. My sister asked me what was wrong. I showed her the video. She watched it, then scrolled through some comments. She frowned. "Why did you post this?" she asked. Not in an accusatory way, but genuinely confused. "I don't know," I said. I felt weird about it. I wanted to see what people thought. "Well," she said, sighing, "you found out. The internet thinks everything. You're a hero and a monster." She handed the phone back. "Just ignore it. It'll blow over in a week." But it didn't feel like it would blow over. It felt like I had opened a door and let a storm into my life. I was checking the video constantly. The likes hit 1,000,000. The comment section was a war zone. News websites picked it up. They wrote little articles about the viral seat swap debate. They used my TikTok username. They didn't use my real name, but it was still my face, my voice, out there. For days, I was consumed by it. I'd be having coffee and suddenly remember a particularly nasty comment, and my face would flush. I'd be trying to work, and I'd drift off, thinking of a clever comeback I should have written, or mentally arguing with someone who called me a terrible human being. The worst part was, I started to doubt my own memory of the event. Had the agent been nicer than I remembered? Had the mother looked at me pleadingly and I blocked it out? Was the child actually crying? In my mind, the toddler had just been whining a little. But in some comments, people were describing a distraught, screaming child, based on my 30-second video where I never showed them. The story was morphing, even for me. I went back and edited the video description. I added more context, trying to control the narrative. I wrote, "To clarify, the gate agent asked me. I asked to see the seat map. I didn't like the alternative. They were kind and found a solution right away. The family never addressed me. I think it was even the airline's rule, not them asking to sit together. It didn't help." The new comments just said things like, "You're backpedaling," or "Still selfish." A week later, I was back home. The video views had slowed, but comments still trickled in. I got a message on TikTok from a woman. It was long. She said she was a mother of 3, and she understood the pressure. She said she would have given up the seat in a heartbeat, but she wasn't judging me. She said travel is hard for everyone, and the real villain is the airline that overbooks and splits up families to make more money. She ended with, "Don't let the internet make you feel like a bad person. You made a choice. It's over." I cried when I read it. It was the first kind, nuanced thing anyone had said directly to me through all of this. I wrote back a thank you, but I didn't know what else to say. It's been a few months now. The video is still up. It has 1.7 million likes. Sometimes I still get a comment notification. Most are just people repeating the same points that have been made 1,000 times. I usually delete the nasty ones, without fully reading them. I think about it less now, but it pops up at strange times. When I'm booking a flight, always economy now, I hesitate over the seat selection. I think, what if I'm asked to move? I always pick an aisle seat. A middle seat feels like a punishment I'm not willing to risk. When I see a family struggling at an airport, I feel a complicated twist in my gut. Part sympathy, part defensiveness. I want to help, but I also want to walk faster and get away from the potential for any kind of request. The incident itself, the moment on the plane, is fuzzy. What's sharp and clear is everything that came after. The flood of opinions from strangers, the feeling of being defined by a single decision, a single word, no, that took 2 seconds to say, I don't know if I was right or wrong. I know both sides seem right depending on the day. Some days I think, I earned that seat. It was mine. End of story. Other days I think, it was just a seat, and I could have made a difficult moment easier for someone else, and I chose not to. That's the simple truth of it. I chose my own comfort over helping a stranger. You can dress it up with points and planning and airline policies, but that's the core. I don't feel like a hero or a monster. I just feel like a person who made a choice and then had to watch that choice get picked apart by the world. The strangest part is that the family never even knew about any of this. They have no idea who I am. They got off that flight and went on with their vacation or their visit home or whatever it was. I'm the one who's still carrying it around. I'm the one who can't quite let it go. I still have the app on my phone. Sometimes I'll open it and look at the video. I watch my own face, see the slight defensiveness in my eyes, even as I try to sound casual. I read the comments, the endless, repetitive debate. It's like a wound I keep poking. I don't know why. Maybe I'm still looking for an answer, for the one comment that will make it all make sense and tell me definitively who I was in that moment. But that comment doesn't exist. It's just noise, and my own quiet uncertainty, which is still there, underneath all the noise.